For your brother's bound and gagged, and they've chained him to a chair. Won't you please come to Chicago just to sing? In a land that's known as freedom, how can such a thing be fair? Won't you please come to Chicago for the help that you can bring? That paints a picture. These are not the lyrics that describe an ICE action in Chicago in 2026. These are the words of Graham Nash of the band Crosby, Stills and Nash, describing the 1969 trial of Bobby Seale. Bobby Seale was the co-founder of the Black Panther Party. He was brought up on charges of conspiracy, and he was unconstitutionally denied his right to counsel, that is, to represent himself in court. And when he vigorously complained, the judge had him gagged and tied up and chained to a chair for the duration of his trial. This is how power expresses itself. This is how power behaves. And this is what we are resisting. As singers, as songwriters, as poets, as artists, our craft is most powerful when we strike an emotional chord. If we don't connect with you right out of the box, then why would you bother listening to the chorus or the second verse? The whole point, unless we're happy singing to the flower pot on our bedroom windowsill, is that we need you to look, we need you to listen, we need you to keep paying attention. And to do that, we have to grab your attention, we have to hold you, we have to do that with a hook, an idea, an emotion, and then through movement. The thing has to move through time or space, it has to tell a story. And I say making music is a lot like painting with your ears. We use the same techniques as a painter, guiding your attention to what we want to express, then moving you through the experience that we want to relate. The term we use, both as painters and as songwriters, is composition. We strive for balance and harmony and directing the viewer's eye, the listener's ear, to the focal point to help keep you paying attention. Now, if you look at the triptych behind me, Susan Bosworth has put the sun over there on the right-hand side to draw your attention over there to the right-hand side. It's the brightest thing in the painting, and from that sun come all of the colors and all of the shadows. It flows from one side to the other. She could have put the sun right dead in the center, but then it wouldn't have the same flow, it wouldn't have the same emotional appeal. And music, like painting, must flow. Elizabeth Thomas and I, we also study prosody. Prosody has to do with the patterns of speech and intonation and words and creating stress and relief to keep you engaged, to keep the flow going, to keep you paying attention. In 1940, and in the first service I said Woody Allen, in 1940, Woody Guthrie Woody Guthrie wrote the words, "This land is your land," in response to God Bless America, which he felt ignored the realities of poverty and exclusion during the Great Depression, of widespread poverty, of people losing their homes, being kicked off of farms, living in tent cities. And in proclaiming this land belongs to everyone, not just the wealthy and the powerful, that message gave hope to millions. He painted a picture of redwood forests, Gulf Stream waters, ribbons of highway, golden valleys. He takes us on that visual journey, but his message keeps repeating throughout. This land belongs to you and me. Stay organized, keep resisting, and have hope. Now, of course, the FBI put him on a watch list. They had him blacklisted. They tried to crush him because this is what power does. This is how it behaves. And this is why we must resist. In my own song, All Men Are My Brothers, I've performed it here a few times. All men are my brothers, just as sure as Cain was Abel's. I know this to be true because I read it in the Bible. According to the story, Cain and Abel were the very first of brothers, and Cain murdered Abel over a petty jealousy, over the idea that somehow God favored one over the other. And that story tells me that although we are one people, although we are of one blood, we are divided by our beliefs. And in that, there will be violence. This is the earliest teaching in the Bible, book of Genesis, chapter 4. I'm literally preaching the Bible from the USC pulpit and not getting struck by lightning. These lines in my song: there's a caravan of people heading toward our southern border. Should we welcome them with open arms? I kind of think we ought to. Or instead, let's build a wall. Let's arm it with 10,000 men. Then we'll tear gas all their children and we'll send them home again. How? How can we do that? How can we do that to other people? How can we do that? How can we be so brutal as to other people just like us? All they want is have a better life for themselves and their families. How can we allow millions of people to have gone hungry and homeless during the Great Depression and then try to crush the man who sang about it? How can we bind and gag and chain a defendant to a chair in his own trial because he's spoken out about his own rights? This is how power expresses itself. This is how power behaves. This is what we are resisting. In song, we don't have the answers. We can only say, here's this image, this thing, this is how it moves. Maybe it resolves itself. Maybe it stirs you into action or at least gives you hope. The last time I spoke here, I left you with the words, ars longa and vita brevis. Art takes a long time, takes an infinite amount of practice, but life is short. You will not finish the work, but the work matters. This is true of resistance as well. Practice your art of resistance. Learn the techniques that give it emotional impact. Practice it with love in your heart. Practice it with compassion. Resistance to power and how power behaves must be ongoing. Thank you.